Welcome to the after party. Welcome to the after party. Did you bring some snacks and treats?
Yes, it did.
I hope you got me something to eat.
Maybe.
Welcome to the after party. Coming to the after party.
Right now.
I've been waiting here all day to act like a fool this way. Welcome to the after party. Join us in the after party.
Right now.
Oh, chocolate and dabbing, maybe some microphone dabbing at the after party.
With DJ Eric Page.
It's funny. I heard someone say earlier that in Australia, when you go Aussie, 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 the callback to that is oi, oi, oi. Is that true?
Yeah.
What is that about? Is that for like football or something?
It's just like any sport sort of thing or Australia players, I guess.
So that's a real thing.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I thought I'd bring that up.
It's like when America goes, "We love guns, man." Like, it's sort of like a similar thing to that.
Oh, all right, everyone. Welcome to the stream. I don't know what made me think about that as soon as we started. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. I'm joined today by Paigey, all the way from down under. And we are going to be talking about all of the stuff that happened this week and the future of the DC universe in live action. Now, the title of this video and the thumbnail may seem extremely overly optimistic, and that is because people were saying that me reporting on negative news should have been a positive. So here you go.
My alt account, sorry.
Yeah, here you go. No, really, this week was kind of like a 3-hit punch. Like, it felt like there was just so much bad news coming out, and there really wasn't a lot to be happy about. So when I'm making my videos reporting on news that isn't good, I'm like, have you seen the movie Don't Look Up? Have you seen that Netflix movie? Yeah. Okay. So the joke is like when they're on there trying to tell people how awful things are, and then the people reporting are like, we try to keep it light, we try to keep it fun, and you're like, they sound really stupid right now. Like that's the opinion I get. One of the things I'll never do on my channel is I will never pretend to be happy about something that I'm not happy about. So if I don't like something, just be aware that I'm going to say I don't like it. I'm not going to be like these other channels that are so concerned about their clout with the industry that they have to only talk about good shit. Like, I'm going to say whatever I want to say about it. And so you'll always get honesty from me, whether you like it or not. So, I'll take an L if I have to. I'll take an L for the team.
Well, you're used to that anyway.
But yeah, so there's just, it's one of those things where I saw a couple comments like that and I'm like, what is there to be happy about? Like, nothing except for maybe a tiny bit of what we got from the finance call is actually what I would consider good news. So, I mean,
well, according to the stock market, none of it was good news. So
we're good to that. That's going to be funny. Okay, so we have a few things to talk about. We do have some super chats that have been sitting here since like 2 hours ago. So I'm going to answer them, and I hope that the people that sent them are still here. Anyway, here we go. Maddie with a $4.49 super chat. I'm expecting full black suits to pay tribute to the death of Gotham Knights, another victim to Zazlav's evil regime. Okay, so this is really good. We had a Twitter space hosted by Eric Davis from Fandango today. I wasn't able to listen to the whole thing, but I did go in and read like the snippets from it. And they're saying that Gotham Knights is canceled, but now he's walking that back, correct? That's Gotham Knights has not been canceled.
No, he just said it like loosely, and it was based off just because other people on Twitter were saying it, which is obviously a DJ Eric sized L, because we know Twitter is 90% idiots. So that was not. And he stepped it back saying like he has no confirmation, like he didn't hear it from anyone. He just got it off Twitter. And those tweets were from like, who was it that? It was one of those clickbait sites, like, like we got this covered or something. That posted
Giant freaking robot or something like that.
It might have been that. Yeah. It was some website like that.
And then Maddie followed it up here with the revelation that it's no longer canceled, so it's back on now. And thank you for the super chats,
But
Maddie.
can I say, from everything I've heard, Zazlav has nothing to do with anything that happens at the CW in regards to cancellations.
Right. I would say he might have some influence over the creative stuff, the people that are making those decisions, but actually on the CW network, I don't think he has any.
Yeah, like a bit like in regards to whether they even start developing a show, he might say, "Oh, hold on, we want to use those characters or something in a movie," which we've dealt with in the past. But we're dealing with like random characters anyway.
Yeah. Naruto here with a $2 super chat and a Team Eric member. Thank you so much, Naruto. The elusive 200th episode is laughing at us. How short will they be of 200 episodes?
16? No.
So
yeah, 16.
Because they're only doing 13 episodes.
Yeah, so they end on 184.
Wow. That's really kind of not happy about that. Let's see. I saw some other stuff pop up here before we get moving through. Thomas Scott, can I pull that up on screen? There we go. Thank you for becoming a Team Eric member. Make sure you check out all the stuff there. There's a watch along for the Amazing Spider-Man available. So if you want to go and suffer through that movie with the rest of us. Actually, I had a good time watching that.
I think there was twerking in that, wasn't there?
I think it was, actually. Thomas Scott here with the $5 super chat. Thoughts on the likes of John Campia loving Zazlav and saying he's being a good leader. LOL, Ezra is still employed, but okay. We'll get to the Ezra stuff. I don't really watch John Campia. I know a lot of people do. I don't like to get influenced by other people in the same space. So
do you want...
Yeah, go ahead.
This is pretty much what John Campia is. You know how there's someone who always wants to be on the other side?
Mm-hmm. That's John Campia?
That's John Campia.
Yeah.
Especially something as this, because pretty much everyone thinks he's an idiot. Not John Campia, but Zazlav thinks what he's doing isn't the right way to go.
Well, the market, the people that actually work
saying,
in the industry are saying it's a...
I think it's like even something as subtle as like, or minor as John Campia putting cancelled when a show's ending. Yeah. He knows it's not cancelled. Right. He knows it's ending.
He's done it long enough that he knows.
Yeah, it's about driving that talk and discussion, and people are like, "Well, I want to hear why he thinks David Zaslav is good." I think at the root of it, he doesn't think that, or at least he's not as committed as he would be in whatever he's saying. Because I know how you can look at everything that's been said and go down that line of thought. Sorry.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of contrarians when it comes to news like this, because like if you've got 98 people saying that there's something is one way, the small like 2% that say the opposite are going to get the same amount of press as like the people. Like if you say you like it, you're going to get wrapped up in that whole sea of people that are saying one thing. And if you say you don't like it, then all of a sudden you become an outlier and you get rage clicks from it. And that's what a lot of people do. Now, I'm not saying that's what John Campia always does, because again, I don't watch his content really, but I see clips from him all the time and stuff like that. And, you know, everybody's got an opinion. If you're watching people that are doing what we're doing, you have to understand that we're just giving our thoughts on it. Scoopers aren't always right. People with inside information sometimes don't have inside information. They're just making stuff up. And you just have to sort of understand that when you're watching the podcast and things like that.
Well, do you have to mention that John Campia rage quit Superman and Lois because Diggle showed up for 10 minutes?
Yeah. Oh, well. All right, Staggervore 499 super chat. The people who are celebrating the cancellation of Batgirl really shouldn't, because it's kind of a decision that could affect things they actually like. I said this over. I made a video about this on the Talk Ticks, that little area over there, where I talked about it. Like, you should not be happy about fair enough if you were not interested in the movie. Like, nobody's telling you have to be interested in the movie, but if you're someone that's looking at the future of DC. And someone like David Zaslav can have a movie go all the way through to post-production, to have its first working screening, to the point where they're just going in and doing final visual effects and stuff like that, and go, we're not going to release that. That is a very concerning thing, because that means that you can't even be at the end of your process and your movies still come out. Like, he's literally like, if I don't like it, it's not coming out. And he said that in the thing. We're going to get into this in a minute ago, or in a few minutes. That he said that if he doesn't believe in something, that they're not going to release it. And that could be as late as you filmed your whole movie, you know? So I don't think people should be excited about it. And people in Hollywood said that this was it was unprecedented territory. Like, this doesn't happen. You don't pay a bunch of money, make a movie, get into post-production, you're releasing it out in theaters for like viewings and stuff like that, and then you cancel it. Like putting it out for people to watch so you can gauge like whether they like it or not is intended to fix the editing of the film, like to make the film flow better. And if you can just cancel it without even giving it a chance to go through an edit, that's not good. I don't think anybody should be happy about that. All right. By the way, Pagey is under the weather, so if he's a little quiet,
yeah, like it's just like if I talk for a bit after.
If he doesn't have anything to add to what I'm saying, he's probably not going to.
Yeah, I won't troll.
Yeah. Noah with the $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Didn't see a question, but thank you. Mecha Mike, $2 super chat. What would you like to see from DC going forward? I just want consistency. I mean, that's it. Like, if you're going to commit to a dark universe, just commit to it. If you're going to commit to, big budget theatrical releases, I want to see a true like follow through on that. The biggest issue I've had with DC over the last like 10 to 15 years is their inability to commit to something. Like, the one thing about Marvel, and whether you like Marvel or not, is you have to give them credit. They can put out something that people just aren't too keen on, like the Eternals, and still go, you know what? We're just going to keep pushing forward. We're going to have some stuff that just doesn't resonate with everybody. We're going to have movies that just don't work. DC seems to have this concept that if something doesn't work, instead of trying to tweak whatever it is that didn't work, they cancel it and they just move on to the next thing. And I just want to see more consistency from DC. Did you have anything to add to that or no?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing.
I think that's their biggest enemy. I think the enemy that DC and WB has had is their inconsistency. I think that's one of the biggest problems. And we're resetting again. Right, Zarp. WBDC loves to hit the reset button all the time. They do. I will stand by the fact that I think DC would function better as a bunch of multiversal stuff that comes together for big event movies, opposed to trying to make one universe work. That's how I feel about it. But, yeah. I'm just a guy on the internet. All right. The other thing is Eric Davis's Fandango Twitter space. They talked about Henry Cavill. I'm paraphrasing here because I didn't hear this part of the conversation, but apparently he said that although Warner Brothers seems to be happy with Henry and would love to work with him, nobody has reached back out to him about coming back to play Superman, and that it's not even something that's been floated around or talked about behind the scenes, which is weird because looking at social media, you would think all these people believe that Henry is just a phone call away, but it doesn't seem like that's the case, right? You were saying that before we started that it's probably like a money situation. Is that
it'd be like a money contract situation? Otherwise, I would have just cut him loose right now.
Yeah. If they were if they wanted to build some good faith back with the fans, I would say they should have done something with Henry at Comic-Con. That would have been the big time to like follow through on that. And they didn't. So not sure. All right. We had I see here someone was saying I missed a couple things. So let me go back. StreamYard doesn't always show stuff. Cody was put a Team Eric member chat. He's a member for 32 months. Thank you, Cody. It's actually After Party subtitled Bloodbath. Or is it the L? Is this the beginning of the big L? Is that what this is?
Say that again.
The big L. Is this the beginning of the big L? Is that what this is? So
what's the big L? What's the beginning of the big L?
This particular after party. Is this the precursor?
I don't know, maybe. It's a couple of days too early.
And yes, I see Cal, who is a member for 11 months. Thank you, Cal. Somehow that slipped by on StreamYard. So but thank you so much. Maddie, the rumor that he was filming during Comic-Con, I think has been debunked. I think there was an opportunity for him to be there. But yeah. All right, let's move on. So we're going to start out. We're going to go in sort of the weekly chronological order. This has been a long week. So we're going to start out with the news of The Flash being announced that season 9 is the final season of The Flash, which feels like it was a million years ago when they announced this, but it was Monday, which was a weird day to release this news. Did you feel, I felt weird about that. I'm like, why is this coming out on a Monday? That felt really weird to me. That they released that? Like, did they want to get this out of the way before this this call on Thursday? Is that why they?
I think that's probably why they probably were just so it got the news, like, because it was really the only big piece of news for what, 2 days, and then the Batgirl thing came out.
Yeah. So I feel like both the news about Flash and Batgirl were put out at the beginning of the week, so it would be out of the news, or they hoped it would be out of the news cycle by time the business call happened on Thursday. But we got the news that it's going to be the final season. This aligns with the filming schedule that Canada Graphs mentioned in last week's podcast. I think he talked about doing the math. Canada Graphs, the math man, who told us that he believed it was going to be 13 episodes. And so there we have it. And so why do we think this is the last season? Is it because of just, the actors wanting to move on? Do you think this is a thing where they just creatively ran out of ideas and they just don't know where to go after season 9? What do you personally think is the reason why?
Grant.
You think it's Grant?
I think it's just solely Grant. I think like they would have been like maybe like 50-50 or 60-40 on whether they do season 10, but it probably would have been more likely to do season 10 than not. But I think Grant's like, look, this is the time to move on. This is the time to move on. And also because you never know, like all the opportunities are going to rise, especially after COVID as well. Like before, he was never going to do like, he had to like stay up in Vancouver or something after finishing, was it last season or something?
Yeah.
To do that Netflix movie.
The Ruby,
not
the
last
Ruby
season, I think it was
movie or
season
whatever.
7.
Yeah.
So I think it's just Grant. As I've said before, like everyone else could leave on the show and it could be Grant.
That's what I was going to say. So if anybody, and I mean this, anyone else other than Grant wanted to bow out, they would have found a way to make the show work if Grant wanted to stay.
They just would have had Grant. They could have had Grant talking to a brick wall or talking to a blow-up version of himself or something, and they would have kept going. As long as he stayed.
I wonder, do you think that he's had opportunities he's had to pass up because of the Flash, and he's thinking that it's time to like take up some of those opportunities? Or
I don't think it was opportunities that he had to pass on. I think it was just that he just couldn't go for them.
Right.
At all. Because, yeah.
I would say, as much as I would love to see a season 10, the good news about this, which is, I mean, it's not great news anyway, because we're losing a show, but the good news about this is they will actually have an opportunity to wrap it up. Like they'll be able to finish off the show and finish off the story, and give us a proper ending. Because I'll be honest, if season 8's ending would have been our season ender, I would have been a little annoyed. So I hope that Eric Wallace does better in season 9 and gives us a story. I mean, are we going to get graphic novels? Are they going to try to squeeze this as a graphic novel, or what do you think we're going to do with this final season? Would you expect them to do it? I could see a couple. I could see a couple of graphic novels. But
no, I think I don't know, maybe, but at the same time, there's only 13 episodes, so I could see them. Maybe there could be 2. It's just like a split season, like 7 episodes or 6 episodes at the beginning for one of them, and then 6 or 7 at the end for the other, or 6, and then you have a series finale, whatever it might be.
Right.
But I could easily see them doing like kicking off the season and just playing off that cliffhanger, and then doing another story that sort of like wraps up the show as well as the Arrowverse.
Right. So is there any storylines left dangling in the Arrowverse that you would like to see the Flash sort of answer before it ends? Any from any show?
Cecile's telekinetic powers, of course. I can't wait to see them do that.
So you don't care about the Mia storyline? You don't want that to continue into season 9?
I could see them doing that, which really... Actually, hopefully Walker just keeps filming that Walker prequel. Keep filming, take as much time as overwork, so there's no free time.
I think if actually out of everything we have left as like loose ends, I think the Mia one is the most likely one that they could, because it already sort of continued on the Flash, which means they could easily make it into something,
Yeah, but when they brought her in, they didn't even progress it in any way.
No, they didn't. They just kind of opened the door so that the Flash
they just used it as the reason as to why she was in the present day.
Yeah. So I don't know. Some people were saying that they would like to see Batwoman and Legends wrapped up in season 9 of the Flash.
No. I can't believe people want that. Like, no offense if you're saying that, but why would you want the Flash to waste time in its final season, which is already only 13 episodes, the least amount of episodes it's had, to finish off other shows, which had their chance to finish off. Right. They were not given any confidence of getting renewed, especially Legends.
And the Legends showrunner has admitted that they assumed,
If they wanted to do that, they should have wrapped them up in those comic books.
Yeah.
They should have wrapped them up in those comic books.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not the Flash's job to wrap up those shows and to waste time doing it. We saw what Arrow did when it wasted time trying to set up a spin-off.
Right.
It ruined the back half of that final season.
That season was like full steam ahead, and then it was like just like a brick wall when it hit that backdoor pilot. Do you think we'll get a backdoor pilot for the kids? Do you think they'll try and do a spinoff? So you don't. So you think this is?
They could leave them on a loose end. I don't think you'll get a spinoff. Once again, hopefully not, because I don't want them wasting time.
Right. To be let down again by not getting a show. Because I think the thing you said is, even though you weren't too keen on the Green Arrow and Canary show, the biggest problem was that we had a wasted episode that set up something that never happened.
And then they wasted, like, they only brought Mia back from the future so they could set up that show.
Right.
There was no reason to bring her back.
That's true.
From the future.
That is true.
Think about it.
Cal with the 49 super chat. Do you think Reverse Flash will be the final main villain? I don't think so. I think the Reverse Flash storyline wrapped up in season 8. I mean, we might get something from the Reverse Flash, but I think it might be something bigger than that. They might try to do the Cronarch thing, or
no, Jesus Christ.
I don't see, like, do we want to see yet another back-to-back season of Reverse Flash being the only villain? I don't know if that's I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is. I want to see something else, but it is the final season. Maybe it should be the Reverse Flash.
I could see it where it's like maybe the final 2 episodes or something is like Matt Letcher's OG one or something.
You know what I would like to see in the chat? Let me know if you agree with this, because I think this is the correct answer. I would like to see the Flash face off against his rogues gallery, like a team up, like 4 or 5 of his classic rogues facing off against him in the final episode. That, I think that would be awesome. Like, bring Captain Cold back, because it doesn't matter if it's the end of the Arrowverse. Have them come back somehow, just so we can see him face off against all of his rogues gallery, or a lot of his rogues gallery. I think that would be really cool. Sort of like the Reverse Flashpoint, or the Flashpoint movie, where at the beginning you had him facing off against all of his rogues. I think that would be fun. I think that would be good. I would like to see that. I don't know if I just want the Reverse Flash to be the only villain. So, Naruto, I can't wait for the fan service in season 9. Are we going to get fan service in season 9? You think so?
I'm hoping for more breakdancing. I really am. I'm confident as well.
Yes, a Rogue's War. That would be really good. Canada Graphs here with a $5 super chat. Spend 1/2 a season on a backdoor pilot for the kids, then don't do it. Best decision. I mean, we've tried it before, and we saw where it went, which was absolutely nowhere. So I know a lot of people probably think more highly of Nora and Bart than they do of William and Mia, but I don't know. Thomas with a $2 super chat. I hope it's like Arrow season 8, every season throwback. With the first half of Arrow season 8. The first half. Yeah. I did not like the back half of season 8, unfortunately. We had another super chat here from Thomas. As long as Steven has a cameo, I'm happy. I miss it. Do you think Stephen Amell will come back as a cameo for the final season?
Maybe. I wouldn't say 100%, but I'd probably say it's like a flip of the coin, 50-50.
If he comes back, like, if it has something to do with like bringing the Rogues back for like a battle against the Flash, I think it would be cool to have him.
I think the thing that helps it is that Steven only wrapped that wrestling show a couple of months ago, and I think they have longer breaks than, because that's on Stars, which is like a premium subscription channel, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, it is.
So I think the breaks are a bit longer between their filming schedules. So he could easily, I think it depends, you know, if they get renewed or whatever. But if they do, probably the first half of season 9 is probably where you see him show up, if he is going to do it.
I would like to see him, whether it's the beginning or the end. I think it would be nice to have him sort of give one last goodbye to.
What if it? Okay, here's the hypothetical situation, Eric. You might like this.
Okay.
I think you either love it or you'll hate it, because it gives me Thong Song vibes.
Oh no! Here we go.
It's a new made up. Maybe it's Music Meister or Music Meister post Crisis, but their power is to make everyone break into song and dance. in like a almost like a dream world, so they can make everything sort of show up the way they want. So, what song would you want Barry, Oliver, and maybe some other guest stars in the cast of the Flash to break out in song and dance to? I was thinking "Bye Bye Bye" by NSYNC, but I'm curious to hear what you might want.
Absolutely everybody. That would be a good one.
Give me some 2000 Olympics vibes.
Yeah, no. Actually, if we're talking about all the characters together in a song that I would probably love, I would love to see a return of the Mac. Bring that song back because that was my favorite song inclusion in any season of any of the Arrowverse shows was when Damien Dark did Return of the Mac. So bring that back, and I think I would be okay with that. That would be really good.
Interesting.
So Staggervorth, the 49 super chat. People may not agree with this, but I think there's a lack of interest for a Barton Norris spinoff. I don't know if I disagree with that. I think it's a very niche group of people calling out for it, but it's a niche group within a niche group, basically. So I was just wondering, the only reason I even brought it up is because I didn't know if they wanted to like just completely end the Arrowverse or if they wanted to sort of keep something there to keep it moving forward. But if you think about it, the Arrowverse, ever since, I guess, Arrow season 8, there's been a track record of spinoffs not happening because we had the Painkiller spinoff that didn't happen. So I think another spinoff would probably fall under that same scrutiny. And then Justice U, which we don't know if that's happening or not. Now it's going to be a Superverse. People keep saying the Superverse isn't a thing. And I'm like, it's not yet because we don't know the reality. We don't know if Gotham Knights is going to be connected. They say it is. We don't know if it's going to be connected to Superman and Lois. And so if it's not, then there is no Superverse. It's just Superman and Lois right now. Yeah. So what if it's a Gotham Knights verse? Does that roll off the tongue or?
I don't think either roll off the tongue.
Let me ask you a question. If they do start adding things to Superman and Lois, are you going to start calling it the Superverse or not?
No, I probably just start calling it CW verse. That'd trigger people.
Is that better the Superverse, you think?
I think it actually is.
Oof, that's a hot take. All right, so moving on, we got just a day later, the news that the Batgirl movie starring Leslie Grace and Michael Keaton and Brendan Fraser, which was pretty much in working order. I think they said they had the working cut done. They were basically in post-production, adding special effects and doing any last-minute editing. So it was just a hair away from being ready for release. We got the news that David Zaslav just decided to cancel that release. You can't cancel the movie. The movie's done filming. He just canceled the release of the movie, essentially shelving it. And a lot of people were upset about it. And people were saying, oh, it's because it wasn't good. But the audience feedback for that was in the 60s, which is the same as other movies that have gone on to do really well. Like the It remake scored the same. And it went on to be like a 700 million plus film for Warner Brothers. Because what probably happened is they took whatever feedback they got from that test screening and applied it to the edit before the movie came out. I believe they said Shazam also scored in the 60s. And then that came out. And Black Adam. So that's not in question here. And I know a lot of people were trying to dissect it. Even I was trying to process it online. I was like, okay, all right, this is not good. But the more likely culprit, based on what we know now, because it came out that Warner Brothers in the second quarter lost like $825 million in revenue. Something like that. It was like $820 some million in revenue in their second quarter. So the story came out from some analysts that said what is probably happening is that it was a $90 million movie. If they do a tax write-down, they can bring back like $20 million off of it, which means they had zero confidence in the release strategy for that movie, which means they didn't want to pay for advertising. They didn't want to pay for any kind of like social media campaign. They literally were like, okay, it's $90 million. It's a mid-budget movie. We don't think it's going to bring any new subscribers into HBO Max because we're found out. We'll talk about this in a minute because that doesn't matter anymore. So they're like, that's not going to be a factor. So they're like, we're not going to put out in theaters because it's not going to bring in big numbers. They don't think it's going to bring in big numbers, even though I would argue it's Michael Keaton. He's one of your selling points for the Flash movie. So how do you think that would not help affect the sales of Batgirl? Like, that was weird to me that they would even consider that, to be completely honest. But the tax write down would have allowed them to make like, so it's not a tax write off. It's a write down, which is different I looked it up. So a tax write down means that once they make their money back from this film and Scooby-Doo too, the Scooby's Haunted thing too, whatnot, those are both tax write downs. That means they can't even sell it to someone else. They can't release it. They can't do anything with it. It is literally going onto the shelf and it will stay there unless somebody leaks it on the internet. That would be the only way it would ever come out. So a completely finished movie, with the exception of some VFX, has been shelved. Hollywood's reaction to that was, what? Like, we had people in Hollywood going, this doesn't happen with scripted. Like, you don't go through that process and then put a movie on the shelf. And I've seen channels saying it does happen. And there have been cases where movies do not get released, but never like this. Never in this case. This is very different. I almost didn't even believe it when I heard this. What were your thoughts when you saw this news? Like, were you shocked, or, I mean, how were you taking this all in? Because it was a big deal finding out they were doing this, right?
Yeah, I was incredibly confused because it was done, and I think it came out like a couple of days ago that it was only 10 weeks into post-production, and they'd done a test screening, so no VFX would have been done on that movie.
Right.
It would have been, most of that would have been editing the film
and practical effects that were in the film.
Maybe like lighting and some like temp VFX. So, and it's well known that movies that have temp VFX and like temp soundtrack and stuff like that don't perform as well in test screenings. That's why Shazam and Black Adam, or mainly I think Shazam, I think the director actually said that. David Sandberg said that it tested low in his first one because it was like almost like storyboards,
right?
Like for like action scenes that they hadn't like removed wires and stuff like that, or actually needed VFX. It was like storyboards. And I know there's not going to be as much VFX with a Batgirl movie than a Shazam movie,
right?
But it still applies. Mm-hmm. I think the interesting thing is that everyone's like, oh, they wouldn't have made 20 million off subs, and I'm like, but I think North America and some parts of South America were the only places it was heading to a streaming service.
Right.
It was going to cinemas in other countries.
Right.
It was confirmed in the UK to be going to cinemas, and I would assume it was going to go to cinemas in Australia as well.
Right.
Because we don't have HBO Max down here. Mm-hmm. And even then, if it did go to streaming service down here, someone would have to buy the rights to put it on the streaming service.
Right.
So I don't know where this, like, it comes off really weird. I don't even understand the financial sense in it. Because if you look at, like, it's Batgirl with Michael Keaton's Batman. A lot of people say, oh, Michael Keaton's Batman's too old. I don't think people realize how many people see Michael Keaton as their Batman.
Yeah.
My mum does. And I think anyone over the age of, like, 40 probably would.
Mm-hmm.
Because they would have seen Michael Keaton's Batman when they were, like, 8, 9, 10, or in their teenage years and stuff like that. We have Binge in Australia, but Binge would still have to buy the rights to it. They had to buy the rights to the Snyder Cut to show it.
There's a couple things in the chat I want to address. Number one, the $90 million budget is the baseline budget for the movie. That is what it costs to film the movie. That doesn't count for post-production. It doesn't count for advertising. All of those things are separate budgets. And you guys are acting like Batgirl is the only movie that's ever had that happen. It's not. All movies are done that way. It's not an excuse to go, oh, they had to pay more money for these things. Every movie does. Every movie does. It wasn't like 90 million and then we're just going to put it out. That's not how it works. It's like they spent the 90 million on the movie. Then you have to pay the additional stuff for anything in post-production. Paigey, how many movies go back and pay for additional reshoots? Almost every movie.
Yeah, especially comic book movies.
Right.
Like the only one from recent memory, like a lot of the COVID ones wouldn't have.
Yeah.
A lot of them, and that's just because they couldn't. Like they just didn't, they weren't allowed to, or whatever it might be. The only ones that would be the ones that, like, are about to come out now. That
Right.
filmed a bit later into it, like they filmed last year.
Cody,
and stuff like
that was for COVID protocols. That they had to factor that in for COVID protocols. So, and also 75 million to 90 million is an average for like the mid-range.
It's like with the
movies.
Flash.
So,
The Flash was just over 200 million, and it's close to 300 million now.
Yeah. So acting like the reason why they canceled Batgirl was because they had to pay extra for shit to like after the movie was done. That doesn't make any sense. All movies have that. They did not want to put the movie out because they wanted a tax write down. And yes, somebody also said, yes, technically they could put the movie out if they didn't charge for it. But explain to me how a company that is literally bleeding money right now, why they would tax write down a movie that they could make money on. Why would they tax write it down and then give it away for free? Come on. Come on, you guys. Like, stop. Like, that doesn't make any sense. If they believed enough in the project, they would have released it and tried to make money back on it. But they didn't believe in it. And this makes me worried for other films that are already in the pipeline that fit within that mid-range budget. And one of them that stands out to me is Blue Beetle.
And, well, the thing with Batgirl is that I find it hard to believe that this movie was so bad it can't be released. If it was something more complex or something like that, I could somewhat see that. But the plot came out, and it sounds like the most simple, basic,
it's an origin story.
Grounded
it's a street
Batgirl
level
origin
yeah.
that focuses on Batgirl, doesn't have too much Batman in it, has the right amount of Batman to facilitate her story.
I believe they said it was based on the Burnside run, which is like
I think it's a combination of the Burnside because that's where the suit comes from.
Yeah.
And I think there was another run that was used as like inspiration for the script.
Yeah. I want to say this. If you were a fan of Blue Beetle and you are happy about what's happening to Batgirl, you might want to just hold on to your nuts for now. No way to put it. Yeah. No other way to put it. David Zazlav is not your friend. He's not a friend of creative. He's not a friend of art. He's a financial guy. And if this particular thing shows anything at all to anyone paying attention, is that he does not give I was going to say, the F. So I'm saying, damn, we're going to do it that way. I'm not going to use an F word there. He doesn't give a damn about whether or not we want something, because that finance report that they released was full of a shit show of stuff.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that in a moment, but let me go on with this Batgirl stuff here. Let's see. The other thing was that these are the true villains. These are the true villains. This news not only came out on the day that one of the directors was being married, but they found out, and I know this isn't unusual, but they found out on social media. So now he's always going to remember on their wedding anniversary that one of their biggest projects was canceled before it ever came out.
Yep.
That is awful. That is villain shit. That is villain shit, everybody. Like,
by the way,
they could have picked any day to do this.
Do you know the irony with a lot of the Snyder cultists is?
What was that?
They want the AA cut to be released. Think about that for a second. How much money did they put into the Snyder cut to get it finished?
Yeah.
Like they came out that it was over 100 million, even if it was 20 million.
Yeah.
For the AA cut.
I don't care if it was a leak or not. They held it from the directors knowing that it could get leaked, and it's all their responsibility. I'm not giving them any credit here, everyone. Like, seriously. Like, let's just not even go there. Also, Walter Hamada says that he was going to literally walk after this Batgirl news, because apparently he was trying to make the movie still happen, and now he says he's staying on through the end of Black Adam. Now, Paige, you had an interesting. You want to follow through on that?
Well, I was going to bring it up, but obviously I already told you it. That suggests that Shazam is getting delayed because Shazam only comes out like 2 months later or something. Wouldn't you just stay on until Shazam as well?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so that makes me think Shazam's getting delayed as well,
Mm-hmm.
which makes me wonder if they're going to do reshoots for that like they did with Black Adam.
Yeah. I mean, there's rumors that Aquaman and Shazam are going to get delayed even longer while they try and restructure. So this sounds to me like that might be the case. And yeah. Anyone who is trying to defend the way this was handled by WB, I don't care if it was an official announcement or not. I really don't. The timing of it coming out was extremely unfortunate, and they canceled the release. So it's 100% their fault. I don't care if it was a leak or a press release or not. I don't care. It was their fault. All right. Also, apparently unrelated to this, insiders were saying that Walter Hamada was a big defender of Ray Fisher until Ray called him out on social media. So,
well, common Ray Fisher L then.
Yeah. So, before we move on to the finance report, I want to say that this is the stocks here. Yeah, this is what happened.
This is what happens when you're an idiot. This is what happens when a reality TV executive goes, ooh, who has stated in interviews he doesn't like scripted content, especially movies, because they go for too long and they don't feel real.
Yeah.
Remember that. That's a quote from him.
Yeah.
Comes in and thinks, I can run a movie studio, which makes me think he doesn't have good advisors.
No.
Or he has advisors and doesn't listen to them.
Yeah, his advisors apparently don't know. Because look at this. And Canada Graphs told me he was monitoring this, like hours and hours and hours after it happened. It just kept getting worse. It's not nothing that he said. So with this finance report that they were doing, this meeting they were giving, it was to convince investors to have faith in the direction of Warner Brothers Discovery, right? That was the point of it. That's why there wasn't a lot of negative stuff in that particular phone call. This tells me that they failed. They failed to give faith in anything that they said. So, yeah. Yeah, it's not good. All right, so we're going to move on now and talk about the actual call that was made, the finance call. This is not going to be in order. I did a video where I talked about it in pretty much in chronological order. This is going to literally just be us kind of going through everything. I have some notes over here. I want to say first that it was very obvious they were trying to avoid drama in this call, right? Would you agree with that? That they wanted to please investors. They wanted to make people think everything was business as usual. This was a fluff call, basically.
Yeah, but it failed because there's this thing that they do called question time. And for anyone that actually listened to it, because some people just didn't listen to it, they got like I guess 2 dot points of Twitter and went, oh, I know everything that happened.
Yeah.
The DC thing only came up because someone asked a question. He was going to avoid it completely.
Right.
Outside of just naming DC as a property they have. Yeah. He was going to avoid bringing it up, but someone asked a question, what is their plan with DC roughly? Mm-hmm. And this was my biggest issue because everyone was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, 10-year plan? What do you mean 10-year plan? You don't want a 10-year plan. We want a 3-year plan.
Right.
Let alone a 1-year plan. We want to know where you're at by the end of next year in regards to what you're doing. What do you mean 10-year plan? If Marvel did a 10-year plan now, people would still go, ooh, okay, I know if you want to look that far ahead because things can change.
Right.
So,
you know what?
That to me, sounded like either they're going down the wrong direction or he pulled that out of his ass.
Yes, I want to say, first of all, and maybe you can answer this for me, what exactly is the 10-year plan? What does that even mean, to be honest?
Exactly, because he was vague. He was 110% vague.
Does it mean the movies are going to get good in 10 years?
Or does that mean it's going to take 10 years for them to be good?
Right. Are they going to not put anything out for 10 years? Are they going to... That statement literally is so vague, it doesn't make any sense. A 10-year plan. And to everybody who was like, oh, we want DC to do something different, right? They literally said he said that they like the Marvel release method. They like what Marvel's done. And I think they're going to try, and they brought in Alan Horn, who is someone that worked with Disney. So this is someone who has worked with Warner Brothers in the past and worked with Disney, and they're talking about this buildup, this whole 10-year thing, which is so vague. So Secret Spidey, that is not what he said.
No.
That is not what he said. People are creating what they think that means.
And that's the issue with him being vague and just saying, giving that number 10-year plan.
Does that mean that after 10 years, we're going to stop making movies? That doesn't make any sense. What is a 10-year plan? Does he mean that's the first phase? It literally doesn't. He gave no context for that statement whatsoever. None. And so now we have a bunch of people on the internet who are going around saying, oh, he's going to bring back the Snyderverse. He's going to bring back this character. He's going to bring back that character. As far as I can tell, he is not happy with the previous content in the DCEU.
Do you want like a bit of a this might blow people's brains up.
Yeah.
But if Zazlav was in charge, like in 2015, Snyder wouldn't even got a fingertip on making Justice League.
No,
he would have been fired straight after Batman v Superman came out and didn't perform as they expected. Batman v Superman made money. It made almost $900 million. It was profitable.
Right.
But it was a movie that they thought was an easy $1 billion movie. It's Batman and Superman, two, like the only other one that competes with them is Spider-Man in regards to, how well they're known.
Yeah.
So like, I know people think that he would look at that. He would look at that and see what the reception was, both critically and financially and everything like that. He wouldn't bring Snyder back at all. He would want him as far away from the thing as possible.
Snyder is the exact opposite of the kind of directors that he wants, right? He wants directors like Scott Buck that did The Inhumans and did Iron Fist. He wants directors that are going to come in and tell him, I can give you a $500 million movie on a $50 million budget. That's what he wants. That's the kind of stuff he wants to put out. And even though he says, oh, well, 90 million is a lot for a mid-range movie and whatnot, the reality is 90 million is a lot to him, period. Put a period on the end of that. Have you seen his idea of what expensive is when it comes to content? Like, he's talking about putting a cap on TV shows of like some ridiculous amount.
Well, that's also the issue with them saying that they want to follow a strategy like Marvel, but I'm like, you're not going to make TV shows or put money into them.
Yeah.
So how is that going to be possible?
Yeah.
Like, are we getting Peacemaker season 2, or is it going to be heavily? Is it going to have less episodes? Is it going to be less budget? Like, what's going on with Peacemaker?
And
like, I don't know how much that costs to make per episode.
Not only that, but I think, and let's do super chat here. I'll talk about Peacemaker. Steigerworth of 19 super chat. All this doesn't work out the way Zazlav plans. Don't be surprised if he ends up selling the Warner assets in a few. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if that already starts to happen regardless.
You know what wouldn't surprise me too much if happens? What happens is that they use HBO Max to build up this new streaming service that is Discovery's, because they own Warner Media. They build it up and then they keep the streaming service in 5 years and dump Warner Brothers, and then Warner Brothers has to develop another streaming service after the fact.
Yeah.
Because he's saying that the majority of the content on this new streaming service is going to be Discovery content.
Yep.
So all this like Fixer Upper and Shark Week.
Yeah, okay, so let's look at this chart over here. Okay, so they have brands listed. They have HBO, Discovery, CNN, HGTV, Cartoon Network, DC, and Looney Tunes. Those are their, and keep in mind, this isn't everything they have. This chart is showing what their priority content is going to be, supposedly. Down at the bottom, we have the iconic series, and I feel like I'm living in the freaking past. Friends?
Yeah.
Big Bang Theory, Property Brothers, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
Because the thing is
I don't even
that
think that show is making new episodes anymore.
Because Sex and the City isn't even the current show they're doing.
No.
It's not called Sex and the City. It's called like And Just Like That or something.
I understand that those are popular things, but those are things that people put on in the background while they're doing other shit.
While they clean the house or cooking dinner or something like that.
That is not iconic in the same way that like great scripted media normally is. It's comfort viewing.
I mean, like putting 90 Day Fiance next to Game of Thrones.
I know. But the other thing is there's also a really controversial graph we're going to show in a minute that explains why they feel this way. And that's its own issue, right?
Drama alert. Yeah.
Thomas Scott here with a $5 super chat. Didn't James Gunn telling people to calm down on Twitter for not worrying about Peacemaker season 2? Let's talk about that briefly.
But
Go
also,
ahead, Paige.
the directors of Batgirl went to Morocco for a wedding thinking that they were still had a movie.
James
They were literally
Gunn, unfortunately, would not know what the studio wants to do until he knows.
They were scheduled, I think it was in 2 weeks after the news came out, they were scheduled to go back in and keep working on it because obviously one of them got married, honeymoon, everything like that.
Right.
And traveling and all that. So there's a bit of a break there. But it was like that was scheduled in. Yeah. Like that was scheduled in for that editing room in like 2 weeks from when that
they
news
were going to come
out.
back, go back to work, finish their movie. And so, okay. So the thing is, we're looking at the franchises here. We got Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman. It's a little weird that those are listed as franchises instead of just putting the DC logo down there. Because
and also because it's like, wouldn't Looney Tunes be like, isn't Harry Potter a brand?
Yes.
And then like Fantastic Beasts would be the franchise.
Well, not only that, it says the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, which is the theme park.
Yeah, well, they call the universe the Wizarding World, but they chuck Harry Potter on there to give it more clout, I guess. But that's what I mean. The brand would be Harry Potter, and the franchise would be Wizarding World.
Yes, right. But
so even they don't know what
they don't even have that listed in the brand category at all.
No.
Also, wouldn't the 90 Day Fiance universe be a brand and not a franchise? I don't even know. I don't
Is
know.
it even what do they mean by universe? Is there like
I think there's a lot
shows?
Of different 90 Day Fiance. I don't know.
Like 90 Day Fiance, like I don't know.
I have seen it, like honestly, I've seen everything on this chart except for 90 Day Fiance. It's the only thing that I haven't seen. But I've seen everything.
The only thing I'm pretty sure I know about 90 Day Fiance is that guy that doesn't have a neck. That Ed dude, Big Ed or whatever his name is. Just because he became a meme outside of the show. So I think he's from that show.
And I'll also agree that I think Shark Week is huge. I know people don't think of it that way, but Shark Week pulls in
it's
like
massive
numbers for Discovery. So there was a joke about that. Shark Week is a really big
and then they get to replay the new shows they did that year throughout the year.
Yeah. Shark Week is one of those like on YouTube I call them like consistent earners. Like it makes money no matter when. It's all year round. People are going around and watching it. Anyway, so the worrying thing about this is based on his statements that he wants to focus on big budget stuff. We see Batman, we see Wonder Woman and Superman. The concerning thing about that for me isn't that I don't want movies from those characters. I'm absolutely fine with that. But that means that are we going to not see any other characters focused on in the first 10 years? That's my concern. Because this tells me, and he mentioned Flash, he mentioned Aquaman when he talked about it, but these three are on the chart. What do you think?
About what?
Do you think that these are gonna be their focus characters because they're on the chart? Do you think these are the ones that are gonna really try and push out?
Well, if that's the case, then just look forward to like one movie a year, maybe two.
Exactly. That was my concern.
Marvel's putting out like 3 or 4 movies a year plus
and 5
4
shows.
Or 5 shows, yeah.
Yeah. How are you going to copy the Marvel formula when you are already a decade behind, more than a decade behind at this point? It's just
it's like starting a pizza restaurant. You know, Marvel's the good pizza restaurant. You're trying to copy them, and all you're making is garlic bread. Like, mate, you're not going to get very far. So I just make you hungry via the garlic bread name drop.
Now you did actually. I'll
tell you what. I have to ask this, and the chat can get in this. Do you think garlic bread is one of the most controversial foods?
Why?
Because sometimes you get really good garlic bread, and sometimes you get it where they have put either too much butter or the butter is like not properly melted.
And the bread is soft instead of crunchy.
Yeah, it just doesn't end up. Like you just end up having one bite, like, nah, chuck it out.
Are you ready for a hot take? You ready for a hot take?
You're asking me as if you don't drop them every single week.
I like garlic bread with melted cheese on top of it. That's my favorite.
Is that like with the flat one where you like cut the bread in half?
Yeah, that kind.
Yeah, I sometimes get that. However, the pizza place I get, if I get it, is it's not. They put too much like cheese and not enough garlic stuff on it, so it just tastes like cheesy bread. And I'm like, I can make that.
Yeah,
I've got cheese in the fridge. I got bread.
Yeah. It's too bad that's not a universe.
No, I love garlic bread, but I'm saying you got to be careful with it. You can get a terrible garlic bread sometimes.
Garlic bread can go either direction.
It's either like perfect, You look inside, it's got like the green specks. Maybe there's a bit of like, maybe you get sometimes a bit of the chunk of the garlic, but it's like sort of like it's like melted down a bit.
Wow,
Ooh.
Maddie says Pagey L. Wow.
No, page W because I'm right. I do make good homemade garlic bread, but garlic lasts like hardly any time in the. So like I'm not gonna buy it. And
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
So
off the garlic bread.
continuing the garlic bread situation.
Oh, continuing.
Here. Yeah. Discovery.
Yeah, what about Rudders? Do they have good garlic bread?
Oh,
No
I don't
roaches.
Discovery also has a lot of reality shows, like unscripted shows, like homemaking shows, things like that. They also have food shows, right? Like they do a lot of these like reality TV competition shows, and HBO Max has a few of them as well that will probably tie in. Like all the Great Flower Fight, I think, is one of them. There's a couple of other ones that are like based on like challenges for like jewelry and stuff like that. That will fit in perfectly with Discovery Plus. So I assume those shows will probably move over because they're within that budget of what Discovery Plus likes for their content. Do you think we're going to see, and I hope I'm wrong about this, reality shows based on stuff like DC, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter?
Quiz shows?
Well, like say for example, they have a baking show, and they're like, the theme this week is Harry Potter, the theme next week is DC, the theme
and they get actors, from the franchise to come
because they can say, oh, we're giving you this content,
but they won't get like Momoa. They'll get like Zachary Levi. They'll get one of the other Shazam family, or from Black Adam they'll get one of like the co-stars, and then it's like a marketing tool at the same time as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I feel like they want to.
They get Ezra Miller.
they want to gut the expensive stuff and
gut came up at the wrong time there. But.
Yeah. So they want to. So what they want to do is they want the IPs. They don't want the. I don't know how to put this. They don't care about getting the bigger stuff. They want to take what is profitable and use it on their existing content. That's what I think they want to do. That's what I believe they want to do. So I would not be surprised if that happens. By the way, also, Paige and I talked about this. I did mention that this is kind of where the CW is heading. I believe this is a blueprint of what the CW is also going to look like. A lot of reality TV. Paige, you already said they're buying.
I reckon it wouldn't surprise me too much if they go down to like 3 or 4 nights a week of scripted content.
Right.
Maybe 4, because you get 8 shows.
Yeah. All right, we'll look at another chart here in a second, but Paige, you shared something. What are we taking a break to look at here? What is this?
Getting an update on Rudders. I know everyone loves what's going on at Rudders.
All right.
Did they have fuel last time? Because I'll tell you what, 99 cents for 3 cookies. It's not bad. Depends how big the cookies are. But did they always do fuel?
I don't know.
Well, you've got the Rudders. You're probably the closest.
We do, but they're not in my particular area of the country.
Yeah, but they're within driving distance.
They are. I'll have to go and find out if they.
Yeah, but whoa, $17 an hour.
Oof, they're higher.
Pretty good. Anyway, that's the update on Rudders. Become a VIP.
Yeah.
Think about it, Eric.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Let's see where we're at now. David Zazlav says that they want to protect and put out the best quality DC content. And then they said, then they're like, oh, well, Batgirl wasn't bad because he came out and tried to do damage control and say that they weren't saying that anybody on Batgirl did a bad job. They wanted people to know that Leslie did a great job. The directors did a great job. But if they did, and then you said it didn't live up to your standard.
It didn't fit your brand, what you want the brand to be.
Right.
It's like going to your like when you're a kid and you go to your friend's house for dinner or to sleep over and you don't like what their mum has cooked. And you just got to sort of pretend that you like it.
And just be hungry
at the end of the
for the
day,
whole night.
you throw half of it in the bin.
And you're like, I'll just eat tomorrow.
Yeah. Or he's like, I drank a lot of water before. I'm just a bit full. Yeah, I can't really.
I just think it's weird that you're like, oh, it wasn't because of the quality, but then you're like, oh, well, it didn't align with what we're looking for. And we only want big budget. That's what he said. They want to focus on the big budget theatrical releases, which, by the way, I just want to point this out. Now he has set himself up to an unfair standard. And let me explain why that is. He's saying that they only want to put out big budget theatrical releases that live up to a certain quality. So that means that everything moving forward is going to be a 10 out of 10, right? Because if they're canceling stuff that they don't believe in, that means that the stuff they put out should be perfect.
Yeah.
There should be no issues with it. If he truly believes that they're focused on quality, then we shouldn't see anything under like a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, just feel like that's a really, really bad precedent set. Also, I feel like David Zaslav is a guy that wants caviar content on a hot dog budget. Is that controversial to say that? I don't believe the person who does 90 Day Fiance and the Worst Moms in America is necessarily the right person for scripted DC content. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good thing.
And he keeps talking about, oh, jeez. He keeps talking about he's going to bring in a team, but who's on the team?
Right.
If I'm watching the Lakers or something like that, you want LeBron. You don't want, I don't know, you don't want Danny DeVito. Like, you want an actual person who's fit for that role. Would you trust Pee Wee Herman to do open heart surgery on you, Eric? Like,
no, I would not.
Yeah, exactly.
The other controversial thing is that apparently I'm also going on my memory here, which may not be the best. I read up that there were 6 vacant board seats when he came in that he had to fill. And he literally filled them with all men, older guys who are like him. So now he's in an echo chamber. So I don't know if any of those yes men are going to disagree with anything that he says, because at the end of the day, he's trying to make money for his board. So are any of them going to dissent and be like, I think we should do this instead? I don't see that as being the case. He fired Ann Sarnoff, who was the highest ranking female in Hollywood in her position. As of right now, I don't think he's replaced her yet. He'll probably replace her with a guy as well, an older guy. So there's no one at the top end who's going to dissent against anything that he says in terms of whether or not something is profitable. Because I'm pretty sure all these people have worked with him before, or they at least know who he is.
They're associated with his inner circle.
Yeah.
In some way, like it's a friend of a friend or whatever it might be.
Yeah. So there's a lot of yes people.
The thing is that I think they just keep Hamada. He's done a very good job since he's been there. That might be a hot take, but I think if you disagree, you just don't look at everything. Like, what's a fail been for him?
Yeah.
I can't think of one. Either he delivers on the box office or everything's critically acclaimed.
Yeah. But the thing is, anything that doesn't work is now his fault because he has set the standard for himself. Like, this is his statements at this meeting, at this call, puts the standards on his shoulders, really, in my opinion. So someone was saying here, does he have control of the comics? I don't know, honestly.
It's separate. It is like DC Comics is under Warner Brothers, but I don't think he can say they can't do a comic book. Like,
I think his control is over like actual
funding.
Yeah,
I think it's funding. I don't think it's necessarily whether something's greenlit or not.
Yeah. So we'll see how that works out. I will say this: one of the things he could have done at this point, because we've had a rough year as DC fans, is, I don't know, maybe take a chance on a Batgirl movie that a lot of people were looking forward to, that has Michael Keaton in it, that has Brendan Fraser in it, and has a Latina lead that a lot of people were looking forward to seeing. Maybe take a chance on that and build a little bit of fan faith in that, because I feel like that would have been a smarter move. But the reason why I think it's a big red flag is this move tells me that he doesn't give a damn about the fandom, that he doesn't care about the fans. And this is a problem because that means anything creative, anything that's going to come out that's going to be innovative or new or different, like say a Zack Snyder, who was a visionary director. The one thing about Zack Snyder I will say is he has a particular vision for what he's going to do, but that never really aligns with the finances of the film. Look at his cut of Justice League, how that went. It started out with one number and then it just kind of changed over time because he really wanted things to happen. And that is not the kind of person that David Zaslav wants at Warner Brothers.
No.
And so he's not going to fight for anybody on the creative side. So fans,
he's either going to get people that he can control on a directive sense, or he's going to get people that he knows he can trust.
Yeah, I forgot about this as well. They announced the trans character that was going to be part of that
Batgirl.
film. Yeah.
Yeah. So like your directors that you're probably looking at are either people that have delivered in the past for Warner Brothers, like Todd Phillips. I think if Joker hadn't happened before, I don't think it would happen now.
Yeah.
With Todd Phillips at least. Just because it's a change in like, from like the Hangover movies and stuff like that. So it's stuff either people that delivered for the studio before, or it's bringing in someone that maybe made a movie for Disney or Universal or Sony and stuff that performed well. You know, and they done like 2 consistent pitches.
Yeah. So I want to point out, and this was another kind of thing that was happening online. It was a lot of people were saying, "Oh, well, Batgirl was risky because of the lead being not only a woman but being a Latina." And this is like an old Hollywood thing because Ike Perlmutter has been on record for being the problem with like movies like Captain Marvel and Black Panther coming out. And you see how absolutely wrong he was. Like he was absolutely wrong. Now, I'm not saying that Batgirl was a $1 billion movie. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that sometimes you take these risks and you get a huge reward for it. And sometimes you don't. But part of the process is you give the fans an opportunity to make that decision.
Yeah.
Like you put something out and you go, you know what? It's finished, it's done, or it's close to being done. Let's put this out and then we'll see what the fans think.
But you know what the thing is that people seem to forget that it wasn't just the Batgirl movie that was just its own promotional tool and you had to convince people to see it based off its trailers, its posters, whatever it might be. They literally have a $200+ million movie that advertises Batgirl that was meant to come out just before it. People forget that.
They could have delayed Batgirl. Why not hold on to Batgirl until after Flash comes out?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think the only reason they've done it is because maybe they think it's just going to be in the back seat for too long. Because who knows when the Flash is coming out now?
Also, I want to say, I feel like there's sometimes an unfair standard when it comes to what people expect from movies that are considered high risk, right? So, for example, let's look at Morbius. Morbius was universally kind of considered a bad film. There's some people that say they like it, but most people didn't. I did not like it. Most people did not like that movie, right? But that movie got a second release in theaters because of a freaking troll campaign online to bring it out. So bad movies happen. They're gonna happen.
Oh, and guess who's trending on Twitter?
Who?
Ezra Miller.
Oh no, I'm not even gonna look right now. So bad movies can happen, and that's attached to an actor like Jared Leto, right? So that's an actor that is, for the most part, even though he's had a string of really bad roles, is considered like a Hollywood dude. Like he's somebody that people can consider like a really good actor. Why is it that movies like Batgirl are not allowed that same privilege to come out and let's see if it's good or bad? Why is it that those have to be surefire hits before Hollywood will release them, right? It's such an unfair standard. Like, we don't want to release this risky property because we're not sure if it's going to make a bunch of money, but then other movies without like leads like Batgirl or, just any risky property in general are held to an unfair standard. It's a really weird thing. And I don't think people see that. No, people don't understand that that's a problem. And so for me, I feel like if you don't believe in it and it's that far completed, it's fine if you don't want to greenlight something. Like I'm like, if you don't go through the trouble of putting everybody through that, I have no issue with that. And I'll even compare it to like the Flash movie. Speaking of Ezra Miller, like people keep saying, I've seen this defense all the time. Anytime I've talked about this, and it's happened here in the after party, it's happened online, it's happened everywhere. Whenever I say that it's a risk for Warner Brothers to release the Flash movie, it's because I know that there are people that have an issue with Ezra Miller and what they've been doing and all the trouble they've been, having over the last year or so. But Warner Brothers is committed to releasing that movie. Now, keep in mind, it is an expensive movie, but the pushback I see on that is I don't think that movie should suffer because of the actions of one person. So everybody's worried about the rest of the people in the Flash. What about the directors? What about the other actors? What about everybody that worked on this film? Should they suffer because of the actions of one person? But then when I say that about Batgirl, all of a sudden they're like, oh, but people didn't like it at the test screening.
Yeah.
So we're not supposed to give a damn about the people that worked on that movie? Why is it that the Batgirl creators and the people that worked on Batgirl, they are expendable, but we're supposed to be concerned about the people on the Flash movie? And keep in mind, Michael Keaton is in both films.
Yep.
It's a double standard. It's an inconsistency. Now, I don't necessarily think that shelving the Flash movie is the best idea. I've questioned it before, whether or not they should do it based on the perception. But I'm also okay with them just releasing it and letting the public decide. Like, if they put it out and the public goes and sees it, that's fine. I felt like it's risky, and I think it should be on HBO Max because I think that's a better way to do it without all the controversy. Because if all this drama about Ezra Miller is true and all the stuff they're saying about what, Ezra's in Iceland with the cult or whatever and all this other stuff, if all of that is true, it is only going to get worse. It is only going to get worse. And they are gambling with this movie. But Batgirl is too risky. A movie with no controversy and highly loved actors involved with it. And I see people saying, oh, I love Batgirl because Michael Keaton's going to be in it. And as much as I think that's problematic because Leslie Grace is the lead of the movie, as much as I think that's problematic and I would call them out on that, the point is that people wanted to see it because of Brendan Fraser and Michael Keaton. There were people that wanted to see that movie for that reason because they are highly beloved actors in the industry and they wanted to see that film. And you're telling me that wasn't important to David Zaslav, that he didn't care about that at all. That's really weird. So, are we ready for more problems?
Drama.
Trigger warning for this next graph because it is like Hollywood 1970s. Here we go. Unique and complementary. This was a graph that they actually used. This is not a troll. This is literally the graph that they used. So, if you watch HBO Max, you're probably a guy.
You have a willy.
Yeah. If you were watching HBO Max, you're probably liking scripted content. And you pay attention. Men pay attention. They lean in to the content that they're watching. They're attentive. You have appointment viewing, which I'm assuming that means when shows and content comes out and you watch it. Is that what you take away from that?
Acting as if like Euphoria isn't one of the most like live trended shows.
Yeah.
That is mostly like a female viewing audience, which is an HBO show, which therefore appears on HBO Max.
And then fandoms, right? Fandoms is funny to me because they use that term, but then they don't give a shit about fandoms. Because if they did, they'd be releasing the shit that they're canceling. I'm just going to put that out there. If you understand what a fandom is, you would give in and give the fandom something. But they're not doing that. Okay, so let's move over to the really awful shit, which is the Discovery Plus one.
You have boobies.
Female skew, right? Female skew. Unscripted. So if you're a female viewer, you don't who cares about storylines? Who cares about that? I'm just watching for the reality. I want 90 Day Fiance. That's the kind of content I want. Lean back viewing. They don't pay attention. I don't have time. I've got a show on, but I have dishes to do. I have laundry to fold. Who has time to do that when you're watching, when you've got so many things to do around the house? Comfort viewing, because there's nothing more comfortable than brainlessly watching content while you're doing chores around the house. That's what they're saying here. And then the most weird shit ever, home of genredoms, which I don't think anyone has been able to figure out what the hell that even means.
The thing is, if you're a fan of a genre, you're a part of a fandom.
Right. You're a fan of a genre. I honestly cannot believe. Okay, so two things here. One, this absolutely happens in other places, right? I'm not saying that HBO Max and Discovery is the only company that uses outdated metrics, right?
No, but this is the thing. They're the only ones that for some reason decide to put it into the public.
Exactly. That's it. So what they've done
to give some reference, something like this leaked back like 10 years ago when the Sony hacks happened.
I remember that.
But those were for in-business things.
Yeah.
like private meetings or whatever it is. They didn't publicly put it on an investor call like this.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, what is this? Like,
I'll try and find one of them. Sony.
yeah, while you're doing that, we did have a Team Eric member chat from Crazy Cat Lady. So no Michael Keaton in the movie as Batman again. I'm confused about that as well, because Ben Affleck went and did reshoots for Aquaman because they said it was confusing that Michael Keaton was there, considering people didn't know why. And now the Batgirl movie is shelved. So does that mean the only Michael Keaton we're going to get is just in that Flash movie, and then they're going to recast Batman again? I don't know. Thomas Scott with the $2 super chat. Ann Sarnoff was fired for not paying attention. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Okay, I've got. This is the one that always makes me laugh for some reason.
What is this from again?
The Sony hacks.
Oh yeah. This is their metrics, like their algorithm stuff. Key intelligence, I guess that's Intel
International.
Research findings. Teens love the Smurfs too. 58% of teens describe the Smurf language as funny. Teens were most likely to classify the Smurfs as cool. The film's comedy and humor emerged as the most appreciated element of the film for teens.
And then there's this one as well. This one's probably the most similar to the one we just looked at.
I'll be honest, everyone. I have Discovery Plus and HBO Max, and I don't ever remember answering any questions about my gender or why I'm watching the movies and TV shows. Captain Phillips, intelligent, suspenseful thriller. Intense action is for young males. Emotional depth is for women. The green check mark is based on a true story. Tom Hanks returned to form. Paul Greengrass, born pedigree. Strong expected, I guess it's a nomination.
Word of mouth.
Right? Oh, word of mouth. An exclamation point on raise the stakes, give it hope. But the red X is on avoid American themes. Like,
there's a bunch more. Those are the ones like a fun.
Yeah, but you get the idea, everyone. You understand. So put this up one more time just to look at this. This is problematic. This should never have been put out in the public. I can't believe this was used as a selling point. I believe this particular graph here probably had something to do with the stock issues. Like, this is like not good. Not good at all. Anyway, so moving on. Let's see. I have some more stuff here. What is genredom? We already talked about that. All right, so let's talk about the idea of putting out quality stuff and how that works without proper world building. So basically, I feel like they want to skip the line. He wants billion-dollar movies without putting in the work. This was the same problem we had with them rushing the DCEU. That was the problem with that. Marvel went through the entirety of phase 1 without hitting that billion-dollar mark until the first Avengers movie. Also, the first phase was arguably C and D list characters by most fans. I know it's hard to believe that at a certain point Iron Man was not an A character, but there was a time when he was not. Captain America First Avenger didn't even break 400 million. The first Hulk movie didn't even get past 300 million. They were world building with these movies. They wanted to take a risk so that they could make these movies work, to make these characters work. This is the fear I have with DC is I don't have a problem with you wanting to do Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, the big characters. Fine. I get it. You want those big characters. You also need the smaller mid characters too. You can't just have everyone be a big character. It's not going to work. Any thoughts on that? Any opinion? Nothing? Are you still there? Did you disappear? Let's see. All right. So one of the other things I see on here, wait, hold on. What's clickbait? I guess I missed that. Oh, we already talked about this at the beginning. We discussed this at the beginning. So yeah, I guess they did. Pages disappeared. All right. So Who says he's not putting in the work? He said it. He's canceled mid-range movies, mid-budget movies. He's only put 3 symbols up on their franchises, which is Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. He has no interest in anything but except for big budget films. That tells me that he doesn't want to put in the work to build the universe. He wants guaranteed big budget billion-dollar movies. He said it. That was his words.
Drama alert nation.
Drama alert. All right. All right. Another thing I always hear all the time about this is that people say that the commitment to diversity, because they use that phrase over and over and over during that call, came off as quite hollow because we lost and I know this isn't his fault, but let's just put this in perspective. We lost Batwoman, we lost Legends, we lost Naomi, and then Batgirl gets canceled. And I believe Blue Beetle is probably, I'm worried about Blue Beetle. I'm not saying it is 100%, but I'm worried about that movie. You can't say that and then cancel everything that's diverse. That doesn't make any sense at all. It seems very performative on their part. Especially when you're not actually greenlighting anything that's diverse. Now, whether you want to see diversity or you don't want to see diversity, because I don't even want to get into that argument. The point is you don't say it and then cancel all that stuff.
Well, do you know they also canceled that Gordita show?
I don't even know what that is.
It's an HBO Max show.
Oh.
Based around a Latino family.
All right. I'm not going to argue about the quality of stuff.
And it was one of the more stronger performing shows on HBO Max, and it canceled after 1 season.
Yeah. We've already talked about the fact that mid shows get saved all the time. We talked about that. So the quality of something isn't necessarily, quality only matters if you care about the dollars, the bottom line, right? So if you don't care about the bottom line, then you're saying, I want to see this world build. I want to give these characters a chance. I want to champion diversity. Because here's the diversity and making money seems to be at odds for some of these companies. Because they don't understand that marginalized groups aren't always going to come out and make the same money as something that has been on TV for 100 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not. So it's always a risk unless it's something that has already proven itself, like Black Panther. Quindolin here with the $4.99 super chat. I find it comical he wants to make money but doesn't want to spend money to bring in the money and audiences. I'm worried about the future of DC. Well, that's kind of why this title of this video is kind of tongue-in-cheek, right? Because I don't know if the future is bright for DC or not. I don't know if it is. I will say as a fan, I'm not too convinced at the moment. I'm not convinced. And I'm a little bit concerned about the direction of the shows and you know, that kind of stuff. I will say also that I see a lot of people say, and this is an argument that I find to be very problematic, that when somebody like says they're setting diversity as a bar they want to reach with their content, whether it's Marvel, DC, Image Comics, whatever it may be, people always clap back with this, well, they should just hire the best people. Do you not realize how that sounds? Like you're saying that you don't believe that a diverse workforce would be the best people. That's what it sounds like. Now, that may not be the intention, but that's what it sounds like. We have to just understand that you can have a room full of people that don't look the same, and every one of them could be the best at something different. So that's reductive. Like, we shouldn't be saying stuff like that. It just doesn't make any sense to me. All right. Mecha Mike with a $2 super chat. I wish Paramount had merged with Warner Brothers. It's a better fit. I don't know. Paramount is more of a movie studio, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that would work. But Paramount has a ton. Like, I think, didn't they announce their growth being like something astronomical? I think Paramount Plus had like huge growth in the second quarter.
Yeah, because I think it's worldwide now, Paramount Plus.
Star Wars is doing really well for them. Like, or Star Trek, not Star Wars. Star Trek is doing really well for them. I'm going to get raked over the coals for that one. I was thinking about the Star Wars stuff, the Andor coming out for Disney Plus. But Paramount's Star Trek content is doing really, really, really well for them, whether you like it or not. It's clear that it's making money for them. And they have other stuff coming too. So there we go. Thomas says diversity doesn't mean tokenism. Tokenism, what companies do to virtue signal. Where did I don't remember where I said this at. Were we talking about this when I talked about like what I consider would be tokenism with Batgirl opposed to what it actually was? Did we talk about this last week? I don't remember.
Didn't you say something about like,
so like for me, I'll
like
say
a Batman show or something.
Right. Okay. So I'll say this again, right? To me, having a diverse lead, like Latina woman in a movie where the story is built around her and the world around her is built of diverse characters in everything from backgrounds to gender to age, that's not tokenism. They're literally building a story around that character, right? That character has a legitimate story and they're trying to do something with it. Tokenism is when you include someone simply to fit a quota. So for example, if you had a Michael Keaton Batman movie and then Batgirl shows up and she happens to be a Latina Batgirl, but has no story, no background, no character development, hardly any speaking lines, and she's just there on screen to fill up that diversity check mark, you could argue that that would be considered tokenism. But creating a movie around a character who starts out as a diverse character and it's their story, that is not tokenism. That is simply creating a different version of the character, adapting the character to the screen. That to me is what that means. Now, everybody's going to have their own definition of it. I get it. But I do believe like if you're going to put in the work, you have to actually build the stories around these characters. And that's how I feel about that. But yeah, it's just, it is what it is. Everybody's going to have different opinions about that. Also, I want to say another unfortunate reality of this is that Leslie and so many actors had to deal with some of the worst harassment for months and months and months. And then when their project got canceled, they dealt with even more harassment and the studio literally said nothing about it.
Yep.
Isn't this what Candace talked about in her interview? Like, and we've argued about this. I don't want to go back and forth about what the studio could actually quote unquote do about it, but you can be a support system for the creatives in your team without being the police force that goes around and stops all the people arguing and complaining. There's a difference in doing nothing and doing something. And the fact that now all of these people are emboldened to go after and continue to attack the people attached to this project is really awful. It's really, really, really awful. And it's very obvious to me that the new people over at WB don't care either. What did Leslie do to garner any of this harassment? Think about that for a second. Think about it. What did she do? She was cast in a role and she happens to be Latina. That's all that she did. And so is that warranting of any of the drama that she's had? No.
Geeks and gamers, man. Geeks and gamers.
None of it. None of it had nothing to do with it.
You look a bit like a geek and gamer today, Eric.
Do I? Is that the vibe I'm giving? That's unfortunate. Also, HBO Max is going away, and it's going to be combined with Discovery Plus next year, and then it's going to start rolling out, I think, over the next year after that into all of the different categories, like all the different categories around the world. And so it's going to become a global brand. It's hard for me to be excited about that because looking at what is happening with DC, this could reach new heights for DC characters if they do it right, but I don't have much faith in that, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the TV shows because I think that's a big point here. With HBO Max going away, that's probably why they decided that it wasn't a good idea to put Batgirl out on HBO Max because there's no point. It's getting basically dissolved in a year or less than a year. That means other movies that may be on there and other TV shows may also be in trouble. Peacemaker, I believe, if it survives, it's going to get rolled over into regular HBO because that's what's going to happen. A lot of the shows.
The
will go
thing
to
is that they said that it's like around this time next year, or maybe just a few months earlier, that the merge, like the new streaming service, is going to happen.
Mhm.
Peacemaker season 2 wouldn't be ready, I don't think, to air by then.
Right.
So that means they probably, like, it's not under like a whole HBO Max sort of licensing sort of thing. Maybe that's the loophole there.
Mhm. The answer to this is yes. If you are a person who is, this is going to make so many people mad. I don't even know if I want to say
Eric.
this. I don't even know if I want to say this because I don't want to argue about it. If you are a actor in Hollywood that is not a
Eric.
white person portraying a 50-year-old white character, you will get attacked for being cast in a role. I know that seems like it's edgy, but it's just, it happens every single time. So I don't know any other way to put it. That's just the way it is. And it may not be at a big level, but it happens. It happens all the time.
Edgy, Eric.
So there you go.
He's
There we
edgy.
go. So I worry about shows like Titans and not because I love it. Okay, I want to put that out there. I worry about shows like Titans and Doom Patrol and even Peacemaker because if they don't get rolled over into HBO proper, they're probably gone, right?
Yeah,
I continue.
Well, the thing is, I think Doom Patrol looks like it might be its last season anyway.
Okay.
They just haven't confirmed it. But like Titans, I don't know. Like I don't know if Titans feels like it's towards the end of its thing.
Mm-hmm.
And would Titans fit the HBO brand? Probably not.
Right.
So, if I could only pick one that I think will probably make it, it'd be Peacemaker.
Bad news for the cartoons guys.
Well, yeah, Harley Quinn and Young Justice.
Apparently, they are dialing back on the animation studio, which is really unfortunate because I think, and I know you're not a big fan of the animated stuff, but the animated stuff has been pretty much all of it has been well received from DC with the exception of a few things. Their animation studio was like, you talk about what Marvel does well, DC's animation department and their cartoons, in my opinion, with the exception of the X-Men cartoon, were always like above Marvel content for the most part. And so they're cutting back on what is arguably some of the best stuff that DC has to offer. So be prepared to find out that a lot of really good stuff is going away. I wouldn't be worried about like the CW stuff. I wouldn't be too worried about, honestly, everyone. I think Stargirl and Superman and Lois, for the most part, right now seem to be not necessarily in the crosshairs, but it could. I mean, it could, but I would say as of right now, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Crazy Cat Lady with a $5 super chat. Nothing against Ace and Cosmo, but we get a Super Pets movie and not a Batgirl movie. Also, the Super Pets movie is not doing well because it wasn't promoted properly, which is one of my arguments about Batgirl, was that they did no promotion for Batgirl either, even no social media push or anything. There's a problem with advertising because I didn't even know Super Pets, but I didn't even know Super Pets was out yet. Like someone told me they're like, "Oh, Super Pets is out." I'm like, "What? Like that came out?" They're not doing a lot to promote this kind of stuff. I don't really know. And Super Pets had a lot of talent in it, right? Didn't it have like at least 4 or 5 like A-list Hollywood actors on it?
Yeah, but you're also not putting them like that. Doesn't often sell an animated movie.
Oh, true.
Because their face aren't on the poster.
Yeah, I don't want to be a total downer about this, everybody, because I could be completely wrong. They could be committed to these shows and put them on regular HBO and say we love them, but it seems to me like based on this call, because we're kind of at the end of it now, based on that call and all the information that they gave us, they're not committed to doing anything that's not going to make them a ton of money because they lost so much money over the second quarter, and it doesn't seem like David Zazlav is in the business of doing anything good for people. There's also some drama on Twitter. I think people that used to work for him posted a bunch of stuff about working conditions for Discovery, and that he was, again, I don't want to assume anything, but their words, not mine, is that he didn't care about anybody that worked at the company, and that it was, it was awful working conditions. So would you believe that? Do you think that's probably true?
Wouldn't surprise me.
I don't know about Pennyworth, everybody. Pennyworth was what service was that on? I know it moved to HBO Max, but where did it start out? Was it Star? No. Is it Star?
What?
Pennyworth, the Pennyworth show.
No, it was other thing.
If Pennyworth is cheap, if it's cheap to make and they believe that it's worth keeping, they will. But if it's one of those things where it's like, oh, it cost us X amount of money and we're not seeing this kind of return from the viewers, they'll cut it. They're not going to keep anything because they believe in it anymore. I know they say that's what they're doing. I don't believe them. I don't think that's true, to be honest. Robert Blake here says, if fans found it confusing to have Bat Keaton and Aquaman, imagine how they would react to seeing Black Adam was not only real, but acting due to DC properties. Yeah, that's true. It's true. It's true. So I guess we can wrap this up by talking about what we think the future of DC is at this point. I mean, what are your hopes now? Because we've had a rough week. I mean, do you think we're going to see more cancellations? Do you think we're going to see what's going to happen with like the Green Lantern show or the Arkham show or the proposed, Penguin show?
Penguin show.
So, like, what do you think?
I don't know. I don't know. Nothing from that thing made me think positive. So I'm not going to. I don't think we'll know until you can actually make a good guess. Until maybe this time next year when the Flash might come out.
Yeah.
And see what they're doing. Maybe after Black Adam, because if Black Adam doesn't go well, then at least financially, then there might be alarm bells.
So that was going to be animated. So I would assume that it's not going to happen now. I'm going to guess. It wasn't even, they didn't even have an episode done of that yet. So I think it's safe. And even if they did, it doesn't matter. Because they canceled another cartoon. I don't remember the name of it. There was another cartoon series that was completely done that they canceled. I forget what the name of it was, but it was something I did watch, but it was a WB cartoon. Do you remember what it was? It was something.
Well, no, there was that Jimmy Olsen show.
Was that what it was?
Like Superman and his pal Jimmy Olsen or whatever it was.
Yeah, but there was something else. No, it wasn't Scooby-Doo. It was actual show. It wasn't a movie. Anyway, they were done. The season was done. They just hadn't released it yet. I just don't remember what it was. So basically at this point, are we going to get a fandom? That's a good question. Are we going to get a fandom this year? Do you think that's going to happen?
If we do, it'd have to be announced probably within the next month or so.
Oh, this is what it was. It was Little Ellen.
Little Ellen, yeah. Your favorite show. Actually, Ben's. I think Ben watches that. But because Black Adam comes out,
what would they announce at fandom? Honestly, at this point,
well, it depends, because the thing is I'm sure The Rock would want fandom to happen because it's extra advertising for Black Adam. The issue is that D23 is in like the first or second week of September, so they got to not be overly close to that. So, and obviously, if they did it a month before, it'd be right now. Yeah. So I could see them doing it like the first week or two of October, just before Black Adam comes out.
Yeah,
if they do it.
I would agree with this defunct. They're too far behind. I think so. Okay, let's end this on a positive, shall we? Can we wrap up today's stream on a positive? Alan Horn is really good at what he does. So having him as an advisor, if they listen to him, might help mitigate some of the problems that they're having. So that's a positive. Alan Horn was very instrumental in Disney's success. So that's a good thing. The other thing is, if they are truly committed, because these are words, we haven't seen actions yet. If they are truly committed to doing a quote unquote 10-year plan to course correct for DC, that could also be a good thing.
It's also important to remember Alan Horn was at Warner Brothers before and handled Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. He was at Warner Brothers before going to Disney.
Yeah. He was part of a lot of that stuff. Matrix. I think he was part of the Matrix trilogy as well.
Yeah, like that early 2000s. Yeah. I think he left in 2008.
Yeah. So that's good if David Zaslav actually lets him do his job. That's a big thing. The other thing we have to remember is that I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings on this. I don't think any of this tells me the Snyderverse is coming back. I think if anything, we will see a reboot of a lot of the properties.
Are you sure?
I'm gonna just go out on a limb here and say
Ray Fisher keeps telling me that Hamada's getting fired, and
I don't know.
insinuating that means the Snyderverse is coming back.
I don't know.
And also, I'm just gonna pick out someone random from the chat. Dad said that as well.
Yeah.
But you said the opposite.
I did.
No, wait, you said the same thing, but to the 10th degree.
I would love to see Henry Cavill return so we could actually get Superman's story progressing and being something more like a actual evolved Superman. I just don't see that. I mean, the door has been open. The phone has been on, ready to make the call for years, and it hasn't happened yet.
Make the call.
So I don't think that's a possibility either. But the good news is that if they're committed to it, we may get finally a game plan with a reboot that actually leads into something. Because as much as I disagreed with some of Zack Snyder's decisions, at least he had an idea of where he wanted to take his story. That's really the biggest plus I can give to him there. What is this looking at Ben? Is that what it was?
Yeah, so this was Cal judging Ben's cosplay as Constantine.
Yes, if you didn't see it on Twitter, Ben cosplayed as John Constantine.
He was side-eyeing it and going, you need blonde hair like I have. Okay, I think he gave it a 2 out of 10.
All right. This is like basically the 5-minute warning, guys. We're going to wrap this up. Daz with a $5 super chat. The second one of the movies underperformed, they will throw it at the planet. You might be right. You might be right. It's possible that could be the case.
I was watching a show and I wanted to bring it up. Oh, there's a new true crime case in Australia.
Oh no, here we go.
It's taking over the news. 2 girls, I think they're like 21, early 20s or something, from Saudi Arabia. They've been in Australia they're in Sydney. They've been here for a few years, and then they stopped paying their rent, and rent was like the landlord was like, hello, where's my money? And then the cops went in and they were both dead, but they're from like rich families from Saudi Arabia, and they think there's like a conspiracy because it seems that it was like a suicide pact.
What?
It's really weird. I have no idea what's going on, and they don't think they're ever going to be able to solve it because there's no DNA in the thing. So I think it was like it's either was a suicide pact or it was like some super spy from Saudi Arabia. It's weird. So you can think about that for the next 24 hours, Eric. This stream's getting demonetized, isn't it?
Yeah, I was looking now to make sure it hasn't happened.
It's really weird. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. All right. Well,
and there's a lot of cocaine now in Sydney as well.
Oh, there we go. That's definitely demonetized. Anyway, basically, we're going to keep our eye on this. But hopefully, we'll have some good stuff to talk about because Stargirl comes back in what, like 2.5 weeks? No, that's longer than that, right? 3 weeks? I think it's 3 weeks.
3 weeks and 4 days.
Ooh.
There's your...
I will be really happy when we get back to talking about shows. That will be very good.
Well, I'm hoping that I don't die. Like, this only happened last night, and whenever I cough, it feels like my head's going to explode.
Oh, no.
Oh,
no. Are we gonna get pagey videos with the scruffy voice now? Is that what's gonna happen?
Well, technically, my one from this morning sort of had it. But I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to do a Paper Girls review. I'm still watching it. I haven't finished it yet. And as far as Sandman, I'm halfway through Sandman right now. But I will say it is beautiful. It is a great show.
I haven't watched either.
So
I've been watching. Has anyone watched all? No, actually. Oh no. Has anyone watched All or Nothing on Amazon?
Don't know.
Maybe not.
I haven't seen that yet. So, I've seen a lot of people saying that Stargirl is really mid. I mean, last season was amazing.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
I don't understand. Stargirl was.
They haven't watched it.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused. Yeah, last season was great.
You probably watch Titans every day.
I don't know. Oh, I can't wait to start reviewing Titans when that comes out.
I don't know. Maybe I do want my cough to get really bad so before Titans comes out. I don't know.
Sandman is good. It's on Netflix. I don't think that's in any danger of this big culling because it's not connected to HBO Max. So and it's not a movie.
Do you have like? Oh, by the way, actually, I'll start with this. Is like a last, and I want to get the chat's opinion on this.
Okay, all right.
What's your worst fear?
My worst fear?
Yeah, like the one thing that like is your
You mean,
biggest
like,
fear of happening,
I
like
don't
getting eaten by a
know.
shark.
I have a
falling
lot
off-
of them. I don't know. None
No,
of
but
them
like,
are
what's the
good.
one that like gives you the heebie-jeebies whenever you think
Um,
about it?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Because I think I might have brought this up before, but I told it to someone I was talking to the other day, and it sort of like mentally wrecked them when I mentioned it. It's not gruesome either; it's just scary. Drowning, falling, the impending heat death of the universe.
I don't know.
Didier
Thinking.
Drogba.
That's a really good question. Somebody said sitting next to Ben. That's
Well, you'd probably die of smell. Doesn't shower, Ben.
let's see. What would be my biggest fear?
Stepping on a nail. I've stepped on a nail before.
I have to.
Actually, it wasn't a nail. You know those things they put on gutters to stop pigeons
Oh
and birds?
God. Ugh.
I stepped on that. I went straight through my foot. I was wearing shoes as well and went straight through. I had to go to the hospital and get like a
Anything to deal with my
shot.
teeth, like breaking of teeth or anything like
Really?
that really freaks
What
me
do you
out.
have? Do you not like the dentist or just?
No, I actually love like oddly enough, I love going to the dentist.
I love the dentist as well. Mainly
But
because like they're just little like. At least my dentist like the.
I almost fall asleep when I'm at the
Yeah,
dentist.
the thing is so like nice. You go
Yeah.
back and it's like the only thing that's annoying is when you get like a filling.
No, I feel like okay. So if you
Not
get
the
like
other day,
in
other
a
week.
fight with someone and they hit your face with like a brick or something like that, I always think of the idea of breaking a tooth that way as being like.
Well, I broke a tooth playing rugby. Someone kneed me in the jaw.
Ugh, that
And it cracked.
just the
I'm missing
idea of
that tooth.
the idea of that is
yeah.
just ugh.
It's like it's the only tooth that I'm missing. It's like right, I don't know, half on the back on the left side, but it cracked and like it was too expensive to get it filled in. And by that point, I was like, it's fine. Like it didn't collapse, so that like there was no point really. You don't need to get it.
The Alan Hart is living in my nightmare. I broke a tooth 2 days ago. It wasn't fun. That's,
Well, here's my biggest fear. It's just looking. You're in your house and you just turn to a window and someone's looking straight at you from the outside.
you mean like a horror movie, like somebody watching?
There's just someone horror movie just random. It could be in the middle of the day. It could be in the middle of the night. Someone you're just looking out a window and someone's like just
There
right
is
there.
something unsettling about that. I'll agree with that. That is
No, the more you think about it, the more it becomes scary.
Yeah. Well, we should do. So this is going to go in a whole other direction, but I don't have the time to talk about this. We should do a video. Like, have you ever watched the quote unquote ghost videos on YouTube, like all the different ghost channels and whatnot?
Oh, actually, I watched a Ghost Hunters show like 3 weeks ago because it was trending on one of the streaming services. I fell asleep. It was to put on to fall asleep to.
Yeah.
Because it's like dark,
Uh-huh.
It's not like a fire or something. It's just dark, so it's easy to fall asleep to.
Yeah. But I watch a lot of these ghost videos on YouTube, like the random ones from like, people recording in their house. And most of them I'm just like, that's, it's bullshit basically. But I'm always like, why do they keep showing like ghosts peeking around corners? Like what purpose would that, it's scary, like it's unsettling, but also why? Like I just don't like, does every ghost in every country assume that peeking around a corner is the scariest thing they can do?
Have you ever seen like the footage from Michael Jackson's house where they think it's his ghost walking?
I think, wasn't it on like a TV show or something like that?
I don't know. It was like, I don't know. It was like some sort of like footage, but it was in Michael Jackson's like one of his hallways in his house.
Yeah.
And it was like meant to be like the ghost of Michael Jackson.
Right.
Walking through there.
Speaking of ghost adventures, because people talk about TV shows or whatever, I know I've mentioned this before. I was blocked by Zach Bagans, who's the host of Ghost Adventures. It's too funny. I can't
What'd you
believe
say?
Hold on, I'm gonna go see if I'm still blocked by him. But while I'm doing that, Dwan Davis, $5 super chat. Hey, yeah, how are you doing today? I'm doing good. I got a question. Do you think about Lightning might get a reboot? Yes or no? The CW Black Lightning? I don't think so. Okay, so let me tell you why. The creators of Black Lightning, it took a lot to get them to agree to do that show because they were very apprehensive and concerned about putting it out in live action and how it was going to be portrayed on TV. And once they finally got to that and made it happen, they spent most of the time trying to focus on that story. And they didn't even want it to cross over with the Arrowverse. They just wanted it to be its own thing. So I think a reboot of that would be extremely unlikely. right now. Maybe way down the road, but I think we'll see a static series or whatever before we see that, if that happens.
Well, this brings up the question I asked you on Twitter the other day. Who would you rather come up against, Ezra Miller or Charles Manson? Two cult leaders.
Oh, I don't
preying on young women.
I have no idea.
With lots of weaponry.
Yeah. So not gonna answer that one. All right. Cody says with $5 super chat, seems like Disney learned from Miss Marvel and Kenobi, which is great. I guess he means like show length and stuff like that or whatever. I'm not totally sure. Not sure what you mean by that one, but
I think it's like not having it too long, like 8 episodes or something.
Maybe.
I think Miss Marvel could have been like 1 or 2 episodes shorter.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like episode 3 and 4. Was it 4 and 5? I can't remember.
Yeah, I have the same glasses. That's actually true. So here we go. Look, let me show you. I am still blockety blocked by Zach Bagans.
What did you say?
I feel like I've told the story before, but maybe I haven't. So, have you ever watched the show? I mean, you said you watched an episode of it. Have you?
No, it was a ghost show. I don't know if it was ghost.
Okay,
whatever that is.
So back in the mid to late 2000s, he always wore these really tight black, like spandex shirts. It almost seemed like, or black t-shirts, and the huge like Jinko jeans. You know, the big like wide like Gothic like jeans or whatever. I used to wear them back in the 90s, but he was still wearing them into the late 2000s. So I made a video on YouTube where I made fun of his pants and shirt because I did it as a
triggered.
Joke. Well, yeah, I did it as a joke, like I was playing a character, basically making fun of what he was wearing. Because this was back years and years and years ago on YouTube. And the only redeeming thing about him blocking me means that he saw the he must have saw the video.
You know, he read the criticism and got triggered. And
so he got mad and he blocked me. Because that means that he saw my video on YouTube and then he seeked me out on social media and blocked me. That's
so it was a video and then wow.
Yeah, let me
so went the extra length.
If it's it was me playing a dumb character, and I actually
maybe he looked up his own name on Twitter and you posted the video on Twitter.
No, I did not.
Oh, okay.
Let me see. Hold on. I don't think. Oh, here it is. So I made sure that I looked ridiculous in the video. I'm going to share the video here. So I don't want it to play. Anyway, look at me in this video.
You auditioning for Sister Act 3. What's going on there?
So this is the original video is gone. I tried to find
the flying nun. That's what it looks like.
This was the follow-up video. The original video is gone, right? But this is the same character. I put on this hat with like these big ears. And yeah, I know, Martin. We have seen it before. I have mentioned it before, but I guess a lot of people have not. And so the original video I deleted because I was like, okay, I don't want to have this video of me, being an idiot. But he had seen it already. So he blocked me. So I made this video basically making fun of the fact that he blocked me on Twitter. So it was a series of videos. It was really stupid.
Series of diss tracks.
Yeah, that was from October 1st, 2011. And the comments are gold. There are people telling me how ugly I am.
What the hell? I mentioned Michael Jackson's ghost, and now he's trending on Twitter.
Oh, no. But the thing is that people were basically... people were attacking me about how stupid I looked and how dumb I was, which was that was the joke. Like, that was the point. Like, I was making fun of other people while looking stupid myself. That was the original video. So when I saw the comments, I'm like, so you got it? You understood the assignment? Maybe Parappa the Rapper. That's hilarious. I have not heard that in forever. Anyway, I still have that hat somewhere. I don't remember where it is, but all right, that's pretty much it. We did get one question I want to answer. When do you expect a season 4 announcement of Stargirl? Not for a long time.
It hasn't even started airing.
Yeah. I would say not for a long time. Do not expect it for a long time. I want to start a campaign to get unblocked by Zach Bagans on Twitter. I'm going to start that right now as soon as I get over there. So
Do you ever find it funny how like you're just scrolling through Twitter and just how many people have you blocked that you've never interacted with in your entire life?
I find people that have blocked me that I never interact.
I think I'm blocked by at least a quarter of the Snyder Cut community on my new account where I don't think I've tweeted anything out about the Snyder Cut.
Yeah. I am blocked by a lot of people that are fans of shipping communities. Like
I think I'm blocked by like half the West Allen community.
They love to use my name, but put like a little symbol in my name, so I can't search.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah.
Oh, like if they wrote page, they'd put like the @ or something like.
Yeah,
they'd
yeah,
go
they do.
P
That's how I
@ yeah, okay.
Yeah, they apparently my personal opinion is like triggers a lot of them. So I don't know.
Well, it just knows that I've triggered them, which is once again common page W.
Yeah.
You may as well mute me. Muting doesn't let me know anything.
Well, if you mute me, I'll never know it. But if you block me, I will. So
message to Zach Bagans, obviously.
Canada Grass. How many Arrowverse shippers block me without ever engaging me? Probably a lot.
I think you engage with them, Canada Grass, and then they block you.
Does he? Does he engage with them usually?
Yeah.
So, hey, Amethyst, sorry you showed up late. Anyway, this will be available on playback. We're going to get out of here. Next week, can we discuss the best and worst Arrowverse couple? We can do another fun thing next week. This was a heavy episode. We'll do something fun next week, like the ranking of the seasons or something like that. Or the
oh, by the way, someone Instagram DM'd me a potential challenge punishment that we both could do.
What's that?
So whatever the challenge is, maybe it's predicting something, maybe it is, but the loser has to bleach their hair.
But you don't get on camera. Like, how would that?
No, I will get on camera, and I'll do. What would I do? Maybe like a mullet bleached.
Even though my beard is kind of like a mix, my hair is actually dark. Like I have dark hair. Oh
yeah.
So,
is it black or brown?
It's like super dark.
Super dark. Interesting.
It's so funny when people come onto my TikTok. They're like, "You have hair?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just wear hats a lot." Like,
you have hair?
Yes,
how dare you?
Well, because a lot of guys put on hats to cover up the fact that they're like super bald, and I get it, but yeah.
Balding is a sign of high testosterone. So
is it? Okay.
It's a bit of a flex.
There we go. Dewan here. Hey y'all, I got one more question. What do you think CW might change their mind to do Painkiller? No. The anything connected to the Arrowverse after Crisis is pretty much
I saw a dude that you know, people get the hair transplants and normally they look pretty good. Mm-hmm. I saw one guy that looked really bad. Like you could tell that it was a hair transplant.
Oh, you mean like where they go in and they get like the follicles?
Yeah, and it was like, oh, like I think that you got a dodgy job, telling you. Yeah. Like I don't think I think he probably went to someone that was cheap or something that didn't look very good. I was like, oh.
Exactly, B. Allen. That's what I'm saying. But everybody thinks that a toupee.
I wear a hat because I got long hair to keep my hair out of my face. My Sprite hat. Still haven't got the sponsorship yet.
Oh,
so
no. You should. All right, we're out of here. We'll see everyone next week. Hopefully no bad news comes out. Fingers